It looks like it might be working. All right, so we're doing the responsibility Bay Area Creative percentage admin fees calculations. And we're going over the goal. So the goal is basically to, finalize the reconciliation of all percentage admin fees for Bay Area Creative, and this is umbrella, right? Umbrella admin fees, and it's corresponding transfers to programs under its umbrella, right? So basically, basically you want to do money organizing, right? So it's basically money organizing. So the outcome will be money organizing, where each and every deposit / income is transferred to the correct program, and percentage admin fees are taken out for umbrella admin expenses. Okay, so that's basically the goal. So until that's completed, we're not done yet, right? The goal. So we want to accomplish the entire goal. So this is a pretty complicated goal. Do you understand the goal overall?
Yeah.
And there's two parts to this.
I don't understand what umbrella calculate admin fee and a BAC umbrella and BAC with not umbrella. So I don't understand.
BAC is an umbrella. So let's look at the structure. So structure of Bay Area Creative is, so you have the Bay Area Creative umbrella, right? And then you would have the which has its own finances, right? So this is one component. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Let's just do only active programs, okay?
Yeah.
So so the second one is digital storytellers. The third one, well, actually, let's do digital storytellers last. So then we have second one is Spark Poetry, right? Digital storytellers, and then under digital storytellers, you also have Richmond Poetry Slam support, and then there's also the Santa Cruz Legendary outreach support. All right, and then the sixth one is the Berkeley Poetry Slam support. Okay, so there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 programs within the Bay Area Creative umbrella. Okay?
Yeah.
So this responsibility deals only with with the first one. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you're not going to worry about Spark Poetry. You're not going to worry about digital storytellers. You're not going to worry about Richard Poetry Slam. All those are separate responsibilities, totally separate calculations, totally separate everything. Okay? But what makes Bay Area Creative different than all of the other programs that we're going to be doing calculations for is that the Bay Area Creative is an umbrella. So that means there's money going through the Bay Area Creative account that isn't for Bay Area Creative. The money might be for Spark Poetry, or the money might be for digital storytellers, or the money might be for the Richmond Poetry Slam, right? So that's where the Bay Area Creative gets slightly more complicated, where you just have all of this money going through the umbrella. That's actually not the actual umbrella money. It's actually a program money, so we have to track the money for where the money's going and the umbrella cost for it overall. Does that sort of make sense or not?
Yes. So is that what I'm doing was an umbrella or just a BAC only?
Well, BAC only is the umbrella. Does that make sense? Like BAC, Bay Area Creative, is an umbrella organization, right? And so it doesn't exist independently from the other programs, right? So the point is that each individual program is its own responsibility for its own percentage admin fees and will be done separately, right? But when you're doing the percentage admin fees for Bay Area Creative, you need to understand, and this would be a key consideration, you must understand that funds, that money and funds going through the Bay Area Creative umbrella accounts can and are related to its sub-programs, right? So this could include transfers from Bay Area Creative to a program, right? So therefore, you need to know the percentage admin fees for all of the programs, not just Bay Area Creative, right? So you need to basically be able to track all the funds from that go through the Bay Area Creative umbrella account. Okay. So it's basically, it's much like if you take Spark Poetry, right? So Spark Poetry maybe has $1,000 that might go through Bay Area Creative, right? So if there's $1,000 that go through Bay Area Creative and then end up in Spark Poetry, when you're doing the Bay Area Creative percentage admin calculation fees, you can note that this money is going to Spark, and so you don't have to worry about it. Checked off, done, right? When you go into Spark Poetry, instead of $1,000, you're going to be looking at $30,000, right? It's not more, right? So my point is that Bay Area Creative in relationship to Spark is just like, if any money goes through at all, it's going to be a very minor amount of money for Spark Poetry. To do Bay Area Creative umbrella percentage admin fee calculations, you do not need to worry about the Spark Poetry admin calculations, okay?
Okay.
Cool. Excellent. Sweet. All right, so what do we want to do next? Steps? We want to go through the steps?
Let me.
Do you have any questions?
So check on the spreadsheet that I put. Is that a spreadsheet under umbrella, right?
Well, it's perfectly fine, yeah.
What happened with the calculation? Like when you open the BSC, you find like $100, 0.8. Can we just assume like a deposit for 0.8, 100, and just go the at least a huge amount only, like $75, $30? How can we calculate this program?
Okay, so this is all from U.S. Bank. So let's see. So it's 59,000. Wow. So basically, the first thing that we want to do is get the transfers, right? So if something was transferred, you're gonna want to know that, right? So that's important to know the transfers. But this income is important as well. Oh, the transfers go here in column G. Yeah. So if something's transferred, you're gonna want to note the transfers. Whoops.
The transfers that I see, the way even if I add it, cannot bring any calculations on this.
Okay. So let's just back up a minute and just go over the steps really quick, and then we'll jump right back into this. Okay.
Okay.
So the step that you're on, right, is what's called we're going to be doing basically, reconciliation and verification of program incomes, right?
Yeah.
Something like that, right? So the first step obviously is like CSVs and update, and we do this monthly for the current Bay Area Creative Umbrella account. Okay, so we would want to get the CSV or update, the accounting, right? To just know what the current transactions. This can be done more than monthly, but at least monthly, right? So once a month, we want to check the account and just make sure that there's no new transactions and that we're keeping track of the fees so that it doesn't get out of control. So then the next step is that we are identify the income and document the income with its transfers if applicable. All right, so then we're doing the reconciliation and the verification of the program incomes, okay? So here you've documented all the income. So here's all the income, right? This one right here is most likely an opening deposit, right? This looks like an opening deposit, right? So this we're going to keep as yellow or orange or whatever. 138 cents. This just looks like a small little income and excome for like setting up PayPal or something like that. So we might be able to ignore this, but we can double check. Do you have the link for the actual CSV? It probably would say there what it is. And you might want to go ahead and just add a description here. Description for the actual transactions. Right? So transaction description. So, for example, this one's probably an opening deposit, but I'm not really sure. But within the CSV, it should have a description of what the transaction was, so that you have an idea of what that is, right? And let's open up Wells Fargo so that we can see the transaction description for all of these to give you an example for that. All right, so then these ones are probably going to be some grants, obviously some grants. You have 11,000, 4,000, 3,000, 12,000, 1,200. So those are all probably grants, right? These ones that are smaller amounts are going to be a little bit more complicated, and we might need to find out more information about what those are and why those are there, okay?
Yeah, can we track all the deposits, even the smallest one? Like $6, $30, or
any deposit, yes. Any deposit coming in, we want to track like $75, right? Right. It's gonna be if let's say it's 10% admin fee, right? At 10%, that would be $7.50, right? So $7.50, if it's 10 times, it adds up, right? So it's just we just continually want to add it up, even if it's a small amount. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So let me go ahead and log on to Wells Fargo here. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump into the Community Life Network Incorporated accounts. I think it's Community Life Network Incorporated. Community Life Network accounts. Yeah, this looks right. Okay, so here we have withdrawal made from branch or store. So this is the 3880. Right, that was transferred out here. So transferred 3880, right, for both of these. So it's 4,000 total. So the two, no, we ended up doing 3%. These are both going to be digital storytellers, and we did a 3% here. Oops. So 75 plus 45 is 120. So 3880 is the opposite of that for two transactions, right? So the transfer date was on 6/28/18. So it goes 6/28/18, right? So now you have the transfer date and it's all logged. So that one was completed, right? So right here, this one says verification for admin fees. Yes. So that one's been verified that we got the $75, we got the $45, done. Okay, so these two are done. And the transaction date, the transfer date is there. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the transaction description, this would be the $2,500 that came in. All right. So we would put in here $2,500 deposit made in branch store, check image available, right? So we have the check image. I can get the check image by just clicking on it. You also have access to this.
Yeah.
And you would click on the check image and it would show that it's from the Erickson Foundation, all right, or Entrican Foundation, okay?
Yeah.
So I would actually go ahead and note that here, check image available, Erickson Foundation, whatever, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So then if you go to the next one, the 1,500, so this one was actually multiple deposits. So if you have 3 check images, one 1,500, one 2,625, one 1,750. So these actually two were actually admin fees already. So this is actually admin fees to the Community Life Network for Siren, right? So they took care of it for us. So we don't need to worry about those. But for the $1,500 one, this is the Silicon Valley Community Foundation for $1,500. Right? So this is coming in that we do need to worry about, right? So then here we can note that this is a deposit made in a branch or store, right? And that lets us know what it is. And then image available, and then this is the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, all right? So that's the transaction description, which helps us. So if you get the transaction description for all of these transactions, it'll help us know what the transaction is, where the money came from, how it all functioned. But most importantly is where the money went to, right? So that's the most important thing. So what we need is we need the link to the CSV, right? So in this one, one of the steps here that so you're going to need the link to the CSV for that. So if you can add the link to the current CSV for the U.S. bank. So we have two accounts. Actually, there's only really one account. So there's only one direct Bay Area Creative account, and that is U.S. Bank, right? Also, funds sometimes go through Community Life Network Incorporated, Wells Fargo, Maine, for grant. Okay, so when we get grant checks to Community Life Network, they happen to currently be going through Wells Fargo. Eventually, we'll get a Community Life Network U.S. bank account, etc., etc.
So how many bank accounts are used for BSC?
Just one.
Only one. Okay.
Yeah, but we use another one as well, and that's the Wells Fargo one, right? So sometimes the funds go through the Wells Fargo account as well, but those are funds that we control, so it's really easy for us to do it, right? So when the money goes through Wells Fargo, I know exactly what the check is, exactly what the money's for. We control it. We transfer it to them. We know everything going on. Not a problem. When the money's going through the U.S. bank, this is their money. They deposit it. We have no idea what the money is or what's going on with it. All we know is that it's there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So we need to figure it out. And that's the hard part, is actually figuring out what the money is for.
So like for US bank, the one you have for 100. And then that is deposit 100.
All right, so here we go.
Deposit one.
So here it says branch account XFR deposit. So this right here would be the description. So I'll just write here, description, okay? So here, this is the transaction. This is the transaction description. Transaction description. So you want to copy this right here, and this would be the $100. And again, I think it's an opening deposit, right? So most likely this money came from WCDC or digital storytellers, right? So we need to figure out where that money came from, but I'm pretty sure it was basically transferred from another existing nonprofit account, right? So this might actually not be their money at all. It might be our money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we could put in here Community Life Network, WCDC, digital storytellers, question. We're not sure whose money it is, but it's in that account. All right. And then we can put it, actually, let's just do that as a note. So note over here, we have this money may be Community Life Network money, digital storyteller money, WCC money. We'll have to see. Okay. And then let's go ahead and make this yellow because it is important. Forget that. Okay. So and so this was put in at 12/15/2017, right? We might transfer and take it out, in July, right? So just because it came in December, it doesn't mean we're taking it out until who knows when. I mean, there'll be money potentially from 2015 that we're not transferring until 2018. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, so then let's look at these two, 130. So if we come in here, on 130 electronic deposit PayPal. So see where it says PayPal?
Yeah.
Right. These are just quick little transfers coming in. They put 8 cents in and then they took 16 cents out. So this is just a debit and credit, and it cancels itself out. Does that make sense? So this is just a double check to make sure the account is viable so that PayPal can link to it. So you can just ignore that. So we can delete that one. Okay.
Okay. What happened, like if you get the deposit that like they deposit the same date but different time? Is it possible we just add like together? We, for example, that 08 then 08 because all the same date. Can we add and we get like 0.16? Is it possible?
I'm lost. What's going on?
Is it possible to add the deposit the same date but different time hours?
A different time?
Yeah. For example, you deposit the same date 2 times and it is the same day. Let's say today
Well, of course it's possible. They deposited 8 cents twice on the same day.
Yes.
So I mean,
is it possible? You just add it.
I'm not understanding your question. Obviously, it's possible. They did 2 times 8 cents, which equals 16 cents, and then they removed the 16 cents, so this equals 0. This is not a transaction. This is a refund. 16 cents went in, 16 cents came out, nothing actually, there's no income. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let's assume this is an income. Let's say that one is 1,200 and another one is 2,200. And the same date, twice. Deposit, income deposit twice. Is it possible we just add like we say 2,200 plus 1,200, then we just put one day? Or it's not possible?
I just don't understand what you're even talking about. What is the topic that you're trying to discuss?
I'm just trying to see like I come across like the same amount, different amount deposited the same day, the same day.
Well, can you give an example? Otherwise, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, example like 0.08, but let's assume this is like 500, and another one is 600 on the same day, 1st 30th 2018, and also 1st 30th 2018. Is it possible that I add this amount together and I put it was deposited the 1st 30th? Is it possible?
On the sponsorship income, you would list them both. So
Yeah.
if one is $500 and one is $600, you list both of them separately.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, just keep all the transactions.
I thought maybe we can add together. Okay.
Yeah, just keep all the transactions separate. Keep them simple, okay? So that we can track them. So every transaction to be separate. So this one, 11,855. You're going to come in here. You're going to copy and paste the internet banking transfer deposit, right? So since it's on internet banking, it probably came from somewhere, and we can probably check to see where it came from online. So if I go to US Bank, I can double check that. But if you would be able to go ahead and start updating this, like all of these need to be actual values, right? So you would take this right here, 11,855.76, and you would put internet banking deposit transfer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So what happened if I don't get like a number that we have 11,000 and withdraw is not there? The another again 4,850.
Okay, so look at this 4,850 for a second. So this 4,850, you come up here, you see 4,850 on 220. The transfer date was 220, 4,850, right? And you come here and you see 4,850 on 220. So this is actually a transfer, right? This is actually a transfer. This is the income here, which is $5,000. Then we transferred 4,850 after the 3%, and then it got transferred to here.
To US Bank.
Yeah, but that's odd. That why would it get transferred to Bay Area Creative? Huh. I wonder if maybe this is the Digital Storytellers account. We might have a problem here. Let's see if we can. So this is where we need to verify everything, right? So there could be a problem that we're actually with the wrong account. Because if it's the wrong account, then there's definitely a problem.
That's what the CFs that you downloaded.
I know. But I downloaded all of them. Didn't I download a whole bunch of them for you? I downloaded multiple CSVs, not just one CSV.
You downloaded like few ULLC, Digital Storytellers, BAC.
So that one's the BAC one. 1344139. All right, well, let's take a quick look. So if we go into 1369 for 220. All right, here we go. 220, internet banking withdrawal. Internet banking transfer withdrawal. That's weird. Why would they?
Wow, it's withdraw their
Funds
income.
from,
That's it.
so they transferred money from digital storytellers to Bay Area Creative, which is very odd,
Wow.
to say the least. Okay, but that's good. So internet to withdraw and deposit. Okay, but the other one is the 4,800. So do we see the 40? No, I don't see it. I don't see the 4,800 check request. So yeah, so maybe I deposited the money into the wrong account, or the bank deposited the money in the wrong account, right? So this is why we double check everything. So because if you look here, we're looking at here, we see the 4,850. Right, so this might be a transfer to wrong account, question mark. So this 4,850 came in on 220, and it should have been deposited to Digital Storyteller's account, right? So we put here, and we say Digital Storytellers, and we get some question marks, and this may be a wrong account, BAC, right? So it's like, why was it deposited into the incorrect account? So this is where Bay Area Creative is more complicated than other programs, because it's an umbrella account, so we have to deal with multiple programs simultaneously. So this money may have gone into the wrong place. So now let's double check, because I look here at 220, I don't see it. Right, on 220, there's nothing here within Digital Storyteller, so it didn't go to the Digital Storyteller's account. So then we go back to the accounts.
We check on.
And now we're going to go to Bay Area Creative account, which is account 1344. And here we're also going to go to 220 and double check. All right, here it is, 220 deposit. Okay, so this deposit, find past checker deposit slip images, fees. So now we've verified and confirmed that the money was deposited into the Bay Area Creative account. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to realize, okay, we're not 100% sure if this was Digital Storytellers. It may have been Bay Area Creative. We just don't know. But we could go back and double check at the actual thing. So we know this was 123.17. So we can go back to 123.17 and then look at the transaction log. Okay. And remember, you have access to this as well. So this is basically the responsibility, right? It's reconciliation. It's carefully going over each individual deposit. Each individual deposit is a task. So you would take a single deposit, you're tracking it down, we're trying to figure out where the money came from, where the money went to, what is the money for, what is the percentage admin fee, making sure it all fits together correctly based on the information. So we're going to go to 123. It says it's an e-deposit in branch or store, and then we can view the details. All right, so this is going to go here, right? So it's an e-deposit in branch or store, and that's the actual name. And then we're going to click on the details, and it has a check image. So this is the Dean and Margaret Lesser Foundation. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and click on here and say this is the Dean and Margaret Lesser Foundation. Okay, so now we know what that money. So now we can send an email to for this one and be like, hey, Patrick, So, you know, we could say need to check with Patrick for what these funds were for. Very creative, digital storytellers, question mark, right? And then also this admin fee, based on where the money goes, the admin fee changes, okay?
Yeah.
So that's also going to be yellow. All right, and then this is verification that we got the admin fee, but we're not sure if the money went to the right place. Well, actually, no. Let's go ahead and put this as an orange.
Orange, yeah.
Or actually, let's make it red, because we actually don't know. Because if this admin fee was incorrect, then it actually should be 10% or 5%, or depending on where the money actually went to. We're not sure if we actually got the correct amount of admin fees. All right. So we need to verify that this is the correct program so that we have the correct admin fee, and then it's all good. Okay?
Yeah, but we have like a few programs that share the same percentage. What happened with that?
What do you mean? What happened with that?
Yeah, like we have Spark Poetry, another program that has 5% on program list. So how can we be sure which program can we select? If you look at our list for programs and check the percentage, we have some program that had the same percentage with the 5%, but
Yeah.
different programs.
Yeah, that's fine.
So which program should I choose there? If I calculate and get 5%.
You're not going to be calculating anything, right? It's always going to go the other way around, right? You're going to find out the program, and then you're going to do the admin fees and then calculate the fees based on the amount. Okay? Yeah. Okay, but let's back up for a second, okay? So one thing I want to note here, and I mean, it's perfectly fine to start with Bay Area Creative. Right? I have no problem starting with Bay Area Creative, but I think it's important. This is another key consideration, right? Note, it may make a lot more sense to first do the percentage admin fee calculations for each of the sub programs of Bay Area Creative, and then do Bay Area Creative last, right? Because if you do all the sub programs first, you should get most of the costs covered. Because then if you do digital storytellers, you'll know all the money for digital storytellers, right? And then you have digital storytellers like checked, everything's clear. So then when you go back through Bay Area Creative, it's easier to track down all the funds because you know already what is digital storytellers, right? So if you go through them one by one, it may be simpler once you get to Bay Area Creative, because with Bay Area Creative, it's just more complicated because we just don't know what the money is. For digital storytellers, we always know what the money is. It's always exactly the same money. Does that make sense?
I don't know. So, I just track all the transactions for US Bank for digital storytellers, and I don't know whether it is the same. Does that mean the sub-program that should be here is just like a digital storytellers? Everything I should put is digital storytellers?
No, we don't know. We have no idea. Until we know and it's verified, we don't know. Right? So each one is going to be different. So let's just take this one right here, this 11,855. We saw this money came from the digital storytellers account. So again, what you need to do, this is the important part, you need to copy and paste. What's that? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean your card's not working? Oh, well, yeah,
I need to copy this.
This is my Bitcoin card, and then maybe a credit card. And go with the joint account just in case too. All right, so this is the important part, the internet banking transfer deposit. So you need to copy that and then paste that here. Wait, which one is it? This is for the 11,000, right? You see, paste that here, right? And then we would note here that this came from Digital Storyteller's account. So we don't know why that money came from the Digital Storyteller's account, but it did, right? So that's a problem, and we need to clarify what's going on there and understand the finances and all that kind of stuff. Like ideally, we would have caught that ahead of time. All right.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is you need to go through all of these, get it all organized, make sure all the transaction descriptions are there, so that when we go over, and then we need all the transfers to know whether there's transferred funds there. And then we can go over it together and figure it out, all the problems and questions that are coming up, right? As you can see, especially with the umbrella Bay Area Creative, it's there, every single transaction is a task, right? So one single transaction, we might spend an hour on it just to figure out that one transaction and send an email and understand it and ask questions and see what's going on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So it's a slow process, and it's just one step at a time, one by one, understanding what the transaction is, what's going on with the money, what the percentage fee is. And each and every single transaction can be done one by one. So the other thing that's really important to note, and going back to our responsibility, we're going to go ahead and make this an umbrella responsibility because there's just no way to get around that. We're going to make, okay, this is the principal, this is going to be the principal responsibility, and then there's going to be these sub-responsibilities, okay? So the sub-responsibility is the Bay Area Creative umbrella percentage admin fees, and they'll be current Bay Area for the current or previous month. All right. Then we have another responsibility, which this one would be, and this is ongoing, right? Ongoing monthly, right? So every single month, as we go into the future, we're supposed to be doing the current accounting for the account, okay? And make sure that all the fees are done correctly. This is the easy thing to do. This is the focal point. We always focus on moving forward first, right? So I would always encourage you, let's just do the current transactions, get those out of the way. The other one would be the past Bay Area Creative umbrella admin fee transactions. Okay? And this one is a one-time responsibility. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of similar to value tracking and other things where it's like when you go into the past, right, and you could even break this down to 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015, right? So they could even have sub responsibilities and do 1 year at a time, right? But overall, it's all one responsibility, right? So but this is a huge amount of work. So this right here could take, 30 to 50 hours, right? Whereas this one, it's basically like 5 hours per month, 3 to 5 hours a month, right? So this is simple, this is easy, this is clear. Let's do this first, right? Do this first, all right? Then let's worry about the past stuff. The past stuff is going to be much more complicated, overwhelming, too much. It's a lot. All right?
Yeah.
So basically what I would request you to do is to make a separate tab. Make this a separate tab. Just for the current month and previous month. So it's like get through this first. Get the current up to date then let's worry about the past. So for example, all of this stuff here from 220, this is too far away to deal with it effectively or efficiently, okay?
Yeah.
So when we're training people on how to do this responsibility, the focus should be on the current umbrella admin fees. In the past, umbrella admin fees is always going to be more complicated. So when you do things in the present, it's always simpler.
We should do only like June.
Yeah, it would be June and July. Okay. So you want to go through all the June transactions, all the July transactions, right? And you can do this for each and every single program, right? So, you know, again, every program is its own responsibility, but it's important for just in general, if we go back to the responsibilities, so you have each program, right? So each program, we have current and each program for past. And past, okay? So it's important that we do the current first. You know, so start with the current. So basically what I'm saying is that if you want to, you can just do Bay Area Creative for all the current transactions for June. It looks like there's like, you know, a bunch here. Get those out of the way, get that completed, and then worry about the past ones.
Okay.
All right. So
my question is, after finishing this one, is there another way I get these details? I know you get some on Wells Fargo. Is there another account for that? Again, getting for BSC?
It's just US Bank.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, I actually want to say, like, okay, if we do this month by month, I would actually say this could be month by month as well. You know, 1 month at a time. So go backwards in time. So if we start with July, we get July done, verify July. So basically what we're going to want to do here, I mean, I would say that we just do, this would just be Bay Area Creative Sponsorship Program Income Spreadsheet. Let's just make the spreadsheet just for Bay Area Creative Umbrella, right? Umbrella, right? And then what you're going to do is you have up here, this would be the verification spreadsheet, verification, and this would be monthly verification. So then you have the month, and then you have verified notes, you know, questions, problems, right? So you would start with July, right, 2018. Then you do June 2018, and then here we can say no, not verified, no, not verified, right? So we want to do 1 month at a time. Then you have May 2018, right? April 2018, right? So I think this is the best way to do it to make sure we don't make mistakes, is to just go through 1 month at a time, little by little, and eventually we'll get through all of it. All right, and then just keep going back, dot, 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 dot. Keep going back. So if we just do 1 month at a time, it'll be much, much easier. So but this would be current, right? So this is current and current, right? So then this would start past. All right?
Yes.
So this would be current / past. All right. So let's focus on the current months, and then in many ways, like, it seems like it would be good to do in July we would do the previous month, right? So maybe we shouldn't even worry about July until August. Okay?
Yeah, we should worry about June, May.
Yeah. So focus on June, and then eventually we can get to July and August when it's August. You know, but if something comes up, I mean, it's perfectly fine to do it, you know, while it's going on.
Yeah.
So maybe this would be the current month, right? And this would be real time. Okay? So eventually we want to get to real time where we're doing it real time. But the current is where we would want to be, right? So the current is the past month, and then these are in the past. Like we're going to do those separate. And we might want to change it. We might want to do it quarterly, right? So this could be the quarter. So this would be quarter 3, and this would be quarter 2, quarter 2, quarter 2. So April, May, June, quarter 2. Wait, January, February, March, April, May, June. Yeah. So then we could do it quarterly, so that we have 1 quarter at a time verified. But mainly our goal eventually is once the past is completed, we're only going to be doing real time and current and real time. Right? And our goal eventually is that all of our finances for the entire network are done in real time. That's the goal.
Okay, thank you. For on Wells Fargo, which account should I use? Because we have so many accounts. The first account that I know, I update all there. Is there another account that I can use
for Bay Area Creative? You're only going to be using the U.S. bank account for Bay Area Creative account, and then Community Life Network Wells Fargo main account for the grant checks that go through Wells Fargo main. Okay.
Okay. What about the account for community network? I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, that's
CLN.
It. Yeah, that's it. Community Life Network. It's the Community Life Network.
Corporate. The one say corporate. Yeah. The last.
Yeah, it currently has $1,000 in it.
We have 2 accounts. We got the one for community network for live and community network corporate, something like that. On Wells Fargo. Are we using both of them for that?
No, the other one's Spark. So the one that currently has $7,000 in it is actually the Spark account.
So whatever we get there, sub-program is going to be Spark all over. We don't have to calculate and get the exact program that's inside the Spark.
Of course we do. Yeah, Spark is a separate program, and so we have to do the percentage admin fees for the Spark program, but that's different than Bay Area Creative.
Okay.
All right, so each one is individual. Each one is its own program. Each one's going to have different needs and questions that go along with it. It's going to have different people involved. So that's why every single one has to be a separate responsibility, right? So the important thing about the responsibilities here is that we, stay focused and do one at a time. Otherwise, it creates confusion. So I would actually encourage you to do either like digital storytellers umbrella admin fee calculations or Spark Poetry, right? Poetry. Instead, because these ones are going to be a little simpler. Bay Area Creative is just more complicated because it's just an umbrella account. So if you focused on one of the actual individual programs instead of the umbrella program, it will be a little easier for you to learn and understand. So let's say someone was doing digital storytellers, admin fees, percentage admin fees, right?
Mm-hmm. Can you open on a spreadsheet on Wells Fargo? We don't have a digital storytellers account there, right?
Well, there used to be one, so in the past there will be one for the past, right? But it's closed now, so you no longer see it. But we have all the CSVs and statements.
We just have on CSVs for US Bank for digital storytellers, and I update it on a spreadsheet. Yeah. Maybe you can check and let me know how can I get the sub program for that, or I'll just put the program as a digital storytellers.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to ask you to do, Lucy, is I'm asking you to breathe and relax and slow down, right? Because what I'm trying to say is that Bay Area Creative, everything that I've gone through here with Bay Area Creative, right? By going through this, we've learned a couple things. One, that it's very complicated. There's a lot going on. 2, that there's no way you could do it by yourself, which you already knew that. We're working as a team. And 3, that it is probably just too much, right? That it needs to be broken down to current, past, and then furthermore, it's just too much to deal with right away. So we may want to do one of either the digital storytellers first or the Spark Poetry first. But when we do the digital storytellers, the Spark Poetry, we're going to be going over just as much information as we went for Bay Area Creative, except for instead of Bay Area Creative, it's going to be for digital storytellers. Or instead of Bay Area Creative, it's going to be for Spark Poetry. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's just like every single responsibility under the percentage admin fee calculations is going to be a lot of information. Okay, and so you need to understand it all and go through it very slowly. So if you want to stop doing Bay Area Creative and instead do Spark Poetry or Digital Storytellers or one of the other programs, I think that would be perfectly fine. And then in that case, we would go ahead and stop Bay Area Creative Umbrella until we finish the Spark Poetry. Otherwise, we stick with Bay Area Creative, and I only want you working on one at a time. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you want to switch at this point, I would recommend it, but you don't have to. If you would prefer to do Bay Area Creative until it's, at least do the current Bay Area Creative until it's completed, I'm perfectly fine with that. But if you want to switch, we can switch.
No, I'm okay with this. I'm okay doing this on Umbrella BAC. But the thing is, I'm asking which months under this that you are asking I can do, like digital storytellers under BS Creative. Quarterly.
Yeah, I was thinking that we should probably do it both monthly and quarterly. So, we could make Q2 in general to be current, right? So current month, and then this would be current quarter.
Yeah, it's okay.
And then everything else would be past. April, this would be March 2018. Cool. So, what was your question again? I think I might have missed it.
My question, let me go back. When you say you have to deal with the past, umbrella, and current, which program am I going to focus? Is it digital storytellers under BAC or just BAC generally?
If you're
I just only divide with the months.
You're gonna have to ask that again. I didn't understand. Say it again.
Am I going to focus on only BAC as dividing months? Three month, like I start for January to February for 2018, then I go, or let's say June, July, August. Then if I'm done, I go again.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we should focus on the real time and then current month, right? Then do the current quarter and then worry about anything in the past, and just work from the current backwards, right? Keep it simple, keep it straightforward. Let's not overwhelm ourselves for no reason. So for example, here for June, it says all we really need to worry about is maybe this $1,200 deposit here, as well as this $123 deposit. So there's really just two deposits that we're going to want to worry about.
Yeah. And in that case, we have 1,200, and 1,200 already withdraw. So I don't know how can we get the fee for that.
Well, we're just going to have to ask what it's for.
Okay. So it means that you are going to send emails for this. It's okay.
Yeah, we might need to send emails for all of these. And
because it look like almost the same, like 620, withdraw 12,
but I don't
withdraw 12.
But I'm not planning on sending any emails until after right we have this completed, right? Where I want this all completed, so that we know what the transaction was, what the description was, where the money went to, what it was transferred from, right? If the money is transferred from a separate account, right? So it says here, it's a mobile banking transfer, right? So this might mean that it was transferred from account 1369. This is account 1344 or whatever, right? So it could have been transferred from Digital Storytellers to Bay Area Creative. Does that make sense?
Yes. So I'm okay now. I'm sorry to disturb you, but I just want to know the transfer now. I'm on transfer. Like if I have 12, what else should I update on transfer? Because already also they transfer 12. Can I put the transaction that is 12 and I put in yellow?
Well, know what it looks like to me? It looks like they deposited the money. They deposited $1,200 and then they transferred it to Digital Storytellers, right? So you would confirm that this is the Digital Storytellers account 1369, right? So you'd want to confirm that with the CSVs for Digital Storytellers. And then if that's the case, then we know exactly what happened, right? Then right here, we have $1,200, transaction details done. If it was transferred to Digital Storytellers, and we know the subprogram is Digital Storytellers, then we know the admin fee is 3%, and we can calculate the admin fee, and then we just need to get it transferred.
Okay. Then okay. I just have to check Digital Storytellers spreadsheet and see. Okay, yeah. I understand. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, so this is actually one that we can do ourselves, and we can do it quite easily, right? So then if we look at this one, $123 comes in, but it doesn't actually go anywhere, right? And it's actually more than 100 that's spent. So this 123 we don't know. So we do need to talk to them about the 123 and find out what that's for, right? But as far as the 1,200, it looks like the 1,200 is pretty blank and simple. The money came into Bay Area Creative. It went to Digital Storytellers, or whatever program is 13669. Done. We don't even need to ask them because we already can just assume based on whatever account it went into that we know the program because we know that program account. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's great that we found out we actually have one. This is why it's so important to start from the current and then work our way back because it just is so much easier to do it that way.
Okay.
And the same thing might happen here. So here you have 5/16. We have a deposit made for $12,420. Right? And then this was made as a withdrawal to 1369. So let's just quickly check out what 1369 is, just so that we know. I'm assuming it's Digital Storytellers, but let's confirm that. And then I think it's time to wrap up.
Yeah.
All right, so it says Digital Story 1369. Perfect. Okay, so Digital Storytellers is 1369. So let's do this big one. This 12,420. On 5/15, we had a deposit. So we come in here, deposit. We go over here, 12/15 deposit. All right. That's all we know. But we know that the money was immediately transferred the next day on 5/16 to account 1369, which we know is Digital Storytellers. So that means that we just know that this $12,420 was deposited to Digital Storytellers. And we know Digital Storytellers is 3% admin fee. So we can just easily calculate that is $372.60. Right? So this means that we know that Digital Storytellers owes us $372.60 based on this deposit on that particular day. So if we didn't do this, we wouldn't know that. We would never get that money, right? So the only way we can get this money is by tracking this sponsorship admin fee costs. Okay?
So it is not easier to get transaction there, transfer. Can we put 1,200 now transfer? 12,240 on transfer, or we just have to leave it that way?
Well, the transfer date. I mean, I guess you could note that it was transferred out, but technically speaking, you could note that the funds were transferred out to digital storytellers, but we didn't transfer the $372.60 yet. So this $372.60 actually exists within this account. This 1369 account has money for both digital storytellers as well as us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So part of this $18,161 is ours. The question is how much? So that's what we're doing. We're doing a reconciliation based on the percentage admin fees to find out how much money is in which accounts and how much money of it is actually our money. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Great. So let's wrap up. The only thing I want to make sure is really clear is that when you're doing sponsorship program, it's extremely important to document the actual program that you're working on, right? So if you're doing in your work report, right? So for your work reporting for sponsorship program, you always do, for example, today I would say, it's Monday, July 2nd, right? 2018. And I worked on the Bay Area Creative sponsorship, and we did 2 hours. Right? So this is what I'm going to put on my work report. Okay? So,
Okay.
so you need to make sure you have Bay Area Creative because it's just like that's who we're going to charge for the client work. So we're going to tell them that we worked on that program and we're going to be creating invoices, and this should be a part of the like if we go to the client Mo sponsorship program, where it's going to be annual reporting, invoicing. So every Mo sponsorship program is going to get an invoice for the amount of work that we did for them, so that when we're charging them, so every time we charge them money, for example, this $362, we need to verify, if that was that they know the value that they're spending that money on, right? So right now it's 3%. 3% is nothing. It should really be more like 10%, right? So if they're giving us $372, we need to invoice them and show them exactly what they paid for, right? So that's just really important to invoice them and show them exactly what they paid for. And then let's say they gave us $372, right? But what if we spent $500, right? We want the invoice to show that they gave us, that we spent $500 and they paid us $372, so that there's a difference of $127. So that might be justification for why maybe they should increase their percentage admin fees. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really, really important that we actually do the value tracking and that we do our work reporting based on each individual client. Every single individual client needs to be work reported. Cool. All right. Any last question? And I'm going to go ahead and index all of this. Any other last question?
No, I'm okay.
Awesome.
I was just asking for transfer. You put it yellow, and you say we'll check on that. But for now, I'm okay. I'll work on it.
Well, we do know that this was transferred. So the transfer of fund out of DS, transferred out of Bay Area Creative to Digital Storytellers.
Can we still leave that place yellow, or we just remove the color to be white?
Yeah, I mean, I would say you could say the transfer was done. So you could use 12/4/20 was transferred, and you could put the date of the transfer was the next day, 5/16/18, right? So, but the key thing here is that the funds were transferred out of DS, and the verification for the administration fee is still no. right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and we could say here, we did not collect, admin fee. So the bottom line is this money is in the digital storytellers account. So when we do the digital storytellers admin fees is where we're going to find that money. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. Great.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you for prioritizing this. This is like, prioritizing and doing the work. It's not easy. It's the work that we do is very complicated and there's a lot of details that go on. But once you learn it, it's endless, right? There's so much work here. It's like every single month, for years has to be, we have to do this percentage admin tracking, and we can bring in a lot of money, potentially thousands and thousands of dollars we would lose if we didn't do this work, right? So it's very valuable, this work that we're doing. And then once we learn it, we can train it to other people, and we can do it faster and faster and bring in more money. And then in doing so, it's just like there's so much work. Like once you learn it, it's endless, and we can train more and more workers to do it. And we have like dozens of programs, and we're gonna get out more programs in the future. So this is really important work for the sponsorship program. And once we get a group of people and a team trained to help work on the sponsorship program, we can get our website back up online for the sponsorship program, and then we can go public with it, and we potentially could have hundreds of programs, not just dozens, right? And then we could there'd be a lot more funds coming in to help cover our costs. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Have a good.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Okay, ciao. Bye.